Fran Lebowitz, welcome back to The Tonight Show. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
You look fantastic. Is that an Anderson Shepherd jacket?
It is.
Yeah, I know where you go. A tailor in London.
That is correct.
Yes.
But luckily, they come here several times a year.
Yeah, they come. Last time we saw each other, I think we were in London.
The last time I remember seeing you, was in London.
Yeah.
We were staying in the same hotel.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you were in the hotel. We have a mutual friend that I didn't know you knew him.
Yeah.
And he called and he said, do you want to have lunch? First he said with me, I said, sure. He said, and Jimmy Fallon? I said, Jimmy Fallon. He said, yes, he's in the hotel. Because you were there for the tennis.
Yes, of course.
Right. So we met in the hotel restaurant.
Yeah.
And had lunch.
It was fun.
It was fun. Our friend, Christopher, had a hamburger. I had like a sandwich or something. He had like a 3-course meal with a bottle of wine.
Yes.
And then they brought the bill to you.
Yeah.
You signed the check, and you looked at me and said, what's your room number?
Yeah, I'm not going to pay for it. Yeah, exactly. That's correct.
I thought, I'm sure he's joking, but I did check my bill when I checked out.
To be continued. Yeah. How are you dealing with all of this heat that we're having? I mean, it's like 96 degrees today.
Very poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I did even like the summer when I was a child. And by the way, I was a child in the 1950s. I'm old. Not old enough to run for president, but...
Almost.
Almost. No, not
almost.
I'm 73. I
Yeah.
have years and years.
Years and years. Oh my God! Please enjoy.
They would say, "No, you're a kid. You can't."
Yeah, of course.
So, and it wasn't as hot in the 1950s as it is now.
Yes.
And of course, I was younger. I was a child, but there was no air conditioning. I mean, there was in the world, but not in my house.
Yeah.
And so I hated it then, and now I really hate it. Air conditioning is my favorite invention. I know it's bad for the environment. I know it's horrible for the environment.
It is terrible for the environment.
I don't care. I do not care because I feel I am good for the environment. Because I have no children, which are very bad for the environment. Because every child is another person who might have a car.
Okay, yeah, I understand. You know, so you're actually helping the environment by not having children.
Oh, this is not a theory. This is a fact.
Yeah.
I don't own an oil company. Right?
This is a way that you're helping the environment.
Right. I don't have a plane.
Own an oil company.
I don't have a plane.
You don't plane.
Like some very big environmentalists that we know have planes.
Yes.
Okay, that's really not that good for the environment.
Yeah, it's not the best.
And so I feel that I'm good for the environment, good enough that I can have the air conditioning on.
Yeah. It balances itself out. It's actually a good point.
I feel I don't have a carbon footprint. I have a carbon fingerprint.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's how light I am on the environment.
We just had Chef Bobby Flay out here. Do you like to cook?
There are a few things I dislike more. Okay? There are. Okay. I wouldn't say I don't like to cook. I would say I hate to cook. I hate to prepare food in any way.
Really?
I find it so tedious that during the lockdown, when all the restaurants were closed, which was, I know that wasn't the worst thing about COVID. I know people died hard. Okay. But the next worst thing was no restaurants.
Yes, okay. The number two thing.
The number two thing
was no restaurants. Yes.
Was no restaurants. So there was, let me assure you, no worse food in the world than in my apartment. Okay?
What would you make?
Because, I mean, like, mostly when people come to my apartment, they say, you eat so healthily, like, you know, all this fruit. And I said, yes, you want to know why? An apple, it's done. Okay? That's why.
An apple's made.
It's made already.
I made you an apple, yeah.
But, I mean, during the lockdown, I would think, why am I peeling this cucumber? Who am I, Daniel Boulud? It seemed like... So I know there's these cooking shows. Of course, I've heard of Bobby Flay. I know he's a very famous cook.
Yeah.
I know he has...
You don't watch cooking shows?
I've never watched a cooking show. I don't want to think about cooking. To me... First of all, I know they're very popular. I know there's millions of these cooking shows, and also on the internet and on television. Yeah. People love them, and I know that, and I don't think they're bad. But to me, it's like, I don't want to watch someone doing chores. Okay? It's like... It's like, when I'm doing laundry, I don't think, why am I not on television? I'm sure many people would be interested to see how good I am at pouring the detergent in.
That's so funny.
So no, I don't.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I know.
You were telling, we were talking backstage, and I told you that I got to recently meet the Pope. Not a big deal. Hold your applause. It was a very big thrill for me. But you said that you would enjoy that job, and I thought you meant my job of meeting the Pope. You would enjoy being the Pope. Is that what you meant?
Yes, of course. Why would I enjoy your job? like, let me put it this way. I could have your job. Okay? And even though I want to be the Pope,
Yes.
I don't expect to be. Okay? I am well aware that a Jewish woman's not going to be the Pope. Okay? So I'm not delusional.
Just as long as
I'm not delusional.
Yes.
You know, I'm not J.D. Vance. So I think like, but it's a wonderful job.
The Pope.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Fantastic job.
It's a great job. First of all, great clothes. Okay? Really good clothes.
He really does have great clothes.
I mean, although this Pope is like very modest.
Yes.
Yes, he wears the most modest Pope suit you could wear.
Yes.
Because I saw him in Madison Square Garden when he came to New York and had a mass in Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
And he was as modestly dressed as a Pope could be.
Yeah, he is.
Okay,
yeah.
just like a plain white robe, little white yarmulke.
Yeah. I don't think it was a white yarmulke. Yeah, it's very funny. He's not wearing. It's not called the yarmulke, no.
It depends who's calling it.
That's true. You're right.
Okay. Cardinal Dolan,
Yes.
who would very much like to be the Pope, but he's not going to be. He was also there at the Madison Square Garden, and he was wearing as much and as elaborate a cardinal drag as you could.
Oh.
So the Pope was very modestly going around, and he was like, so I like this Pope. That's why I went to see him.
Yeah.
And, but I know I'm not going to be the Pope. The best thing about being the Pope, aside from like he lives in Rome, the food's great.
The food is great in Rome.
Right? He
yes.
doesn't have to cook. Okay? All right? And I bet if you ask him, does he watch cooking? No.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Okay?
No.
Because he has, like, other things to do.
Yeah.
Also, millions of people do what he says. Okay? He issues these edicts, or whatever they're called, and people do it. Okay? So my whole life, I've been trying to get people to do what I say, and no one has ever done it.
That's why you would want to be the Pope.
I think that's why anyone would want to be the Pope.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I know that you're doing this big event. It's a New York Town Hall with Frank Rich, writer Frank Rich. You're discussing the presidential election. This is on October 15th. And I will tell anyone this. If you ever come to New York, you can go see Statue of Liberty, go see Broadway shows. You can do Katz's Deli. But if you get the chance to see Fran Lebowitz, that is rare. That is something you will never forget as long as you live. Tickets are on sale this Friday. Fran Lebowitz, everybody. For tickets, go to thetownhall.org. Orlando Leyva performs stand-up after the break. Go see Fran Lebowitz. You will not regret it. Come on back, everybody.
Hey, hey.